Good afternoon. Welcome once again to Blakey's Bootroom here on Wales Online. Nathan and Phil in the studio. I almost said Stephen. To discuss the latest the latest goings on at Cardiff City. It was pretty grim here last week, chaps, and since then Cardiff City have plummeted to the bottom of the Championship table. The game against Leeds wasn't pretty again, Blakey.
No, it wasn't good at all. Plus points, I suppose, first 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes was okay. Kind of got a little pattern going, but again, same problems, same old problems identified. Lack of goals. Lambert up front. I believe he could get goals, but you're going to have to get a lot more crosses into the box. He did show one or two touches of class here and there, bringing people into play. I forget who it was, second half, he turned on the ball and clipped a lovely pass over to the far stick. Someone in the 18-yard box should have taken the chance, but no, there are little pluses there, but an awful lot of work to do, and again, staring them right in the face is the lack of pace, and above all, what didn't annoy me, well, it did annoy me a little, but it annoyed me quite a lot, if I'm totally honest, was the fact that Harris from the Preston game was probably the only player who come out of it with any sort of credibility. Found himself on the bench, okay, fair enough. Then you bring him on left side, which I don't really understand. Straight away, brings a bit of life into the crowd, excites people. You can see he's trying to get it past his defender, gets corners and stuff like that. And you're chasing the game massively, and you switch him to right back. In a 4-4-2, you go from a 3 to a 4 and then switch him to right back, which you don't think it's like a sabotage thing. You're trying to, you won't accept that the boy has got talent and needs to start his proper career path. And I mean, I speak from experience, because I know it happened to me at Cardiff City when I first started out, where managers don't want to admit that, they want to prove that they know best and this is his best position because I say so, sort of thing. When the whole world is looking and saying, we don't see that as his best position at all, So I don't quite understand it, to be honest with you, John. They're struggling. Confidence-wise, you could see it, draining away during the game, and he brought a spark to the game, and then you nullify your own talent by putting him in a position where he's not going to attack as much. So I don't know. I just left there kind of shrugging my shoulders, about 50-60 different fans done to me as they were walking out. Or when I went down half-time, I had a few selfies with the boys and that, and they were just all saying, what's going on? It just very little or nothing, So, I don't know. I just, there's a lot of room for improvement.
I mean, obviously, he switched formation, which is what you were both calling for. He went with a 4-3-3, which is what you both wanted. Why didn't it work then, Phil?
Well, I think to be honest, I thought they came out of the blocks quite well.
They did.
They looked like there was a sense of what happened in midweek wasn't acceptable.
We're going to put it behind us,
and there was a lot more. The plan looked better to me to start with. They were trying to get the ball into Nooney on the right, get the ball into the box, but the confidence just seems to drain the longer they go on without scoring. And sort of, it's another one of those where they played some nice stuff without ever really putting Leeds under serious pressure. I mean, for the first half, it looked like there was always a chance Cardiff might get a goal from a set piece. Every time the ball went in the box, Rob Green looked shaky, didn't he? He wasn't sure whether to come off his line or...
But that ended up being our only threat.
It did. I think part of that, the delivery from the wide areas wasn't great. It's just very difficult. When they don't get that early goal, partially because they've struggled for goals all season so far, that confidence just seemed to ebb. And I think there was a definite sense, I don't know what you thought, Blakey, but after Leeds went 1-0 up, there was a definite sense of, that's almost that, you know?
Well, you couldn't see them getting back in the game.
No, you couldn't. I mean, they responded all right, you know, they, like you say, Kadeem came on and brought a bit of a spark, but you struggled to see them equalising, and you certainly didn't at any stage think.
What did you make of that, Phil? Bringing him on the left side and then switching him to right back?
Well, it's difficult really, because I can see in my head I can see the logic of playing Kadeem behind someone like Nooney. Nooney in terms of being...
Nooney was awful.
Nooney's delivery
delivery was poor. He's not produced. If anything, you just do a like for like swap. You bring Noon off and put Kadeem on the right hand side. I didn't understand why you put him on the left to begin with, but you can't say, I wouldn't understand the logic of two wingers playing down the right hand side. One's a winger who likes to cut inside and whip the ball, and the other's one who likes to go outside and get the ball in. So they both like to cross the ball. You've posed the problem for 65, 70 minutes with Noon. Nothing come of Noon really. He was poor. So you just do a like for like swap, bang. I can't understand, because it's not like you're saying to Kadeem, right, I want you to overlap Noon, because Noon doesn't look for the overlap. You've seen it with Peltier. He comes inside, then he whips the ball. So he's not even looking for that. You might get once or twice, but you've got Ricky Lambert in the box, so you need untold balls going in. So I differ to Phil. I couldn't understand the logic of it.
Well, I mean, against Fulham, Kadeem came. I mean, it was slightly different because he was playing in that wing-back role. And Fulham had just completely dominated that first half, and Kadeem came on about 50-55 minutes. And there was just gaps everywhere for him down that right. And Kadeem was absolutely brilliant. I gave him man of the match, and he'd only been on the pitch for 35-40 minutes, just because he was just attacking those spaces. And I think that's why he didn't start, whatever the rights and wrongs of it. I would have picked him as well. We discussed it last week, but I think he felt that this was the kind of tight game where later on spaces would open up that someone like Kadeem could come on fresh and just attack and just run into and create a bit of havoc. The difficulty really is, I still, a lot of it comes down to this kind of dearth of attacking options, because he went to 4-4-2 because he brought Freddie on. But when you don't really have the options in attacking areas, you're so limited because you need other players to do things that they're maybe not comfortable with. And it is frustrating for Kadeem, because in some ways he's been a little bit of a victim of his own success. And he's the only player with that raw pace. And when he's the only player with that kind of ability and that kind of specific sort of... Because, I mean, Trollope himself said after the game, he said, you know, we're not blessed with a huge amount of pace in this squad. And so he has to be really careful about the way he manages Kadeem. And yeah, it was frustrating seeing him move around.
I would understand that if you're sat at the top of the league and all's going well, but you're about 2 games away from being absolutely total under the pressure, right? You haven't got time to wait and treat Kadeem sparingly. The boy's been at the club for 3 or 4 years, hasn't played hardly no games. The boy is clearly chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, and this happens a lot, you can tend to overthink things. Listen, the boy's Noon's not playing well. Kadeem sat on the bench. Protect him from what? Right now he's the only bright spark that the fans look forward to see coming on the pitch. Do I think you're better playing him for 75 minutes down the right hand side to create havoc for 75 minutes, or do I think you're better bringing him on for 15 minutes at the end to possibly expose gaps? Well, he's so quick. That's the whole idea, kind of like contradicting yourself. He exposes the gaps because he's quick. So if the gap is there in the first 5 minutes, he's got the space to get through it. If it's there in the last 15 minutes, he's got the pace to get through it. My point is, like I've said before, the longer he's on the pitch, the more crosses you get, the more attempts you get, you know, the more assists he's got to create, he's able to create. So it's just, that's logic for me. Put him on the pitch. I said in the very first game with Rob Phillips, I said, I think Kadeem Harris, will end up being the saving grace for Paul Trollope. And I stand by it. And I think, look, we can talk till we're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, I don't see any sort of reason why he's not playing continuously. If he loses form or whatever, then withdraw him. But until that time, there's no one you can point at out wide or up front where you say, well, I can understand because he's playing so well, or he's playing so well, or listen, he gives us too much. No one's got much confidence. They're not completely on the floor, but they've not got a lot of confidence at the moment, and that's down to the results business, you know. So I don't understand it, mate.
Okay, let's have a couple of comments then along similar sort of themes. Alex saying dreadful, players lacking leadership, desire and quality. Bizarre changes by Trollope to try and get back into the game. He looks totally lost. The players don't look to believe or trust in him. I know he's not been here long, but is it time to look elsewhere? Another one here, Aaron saying Craig Noon is a passenger and needs to part ways, or certainly not be part of the first.
Well, Aaron's
team.
right. He was clearly he's a million miles away from where he was 2 or 3 seasons ago. Right. Last season he had the injuries and what have you, and Tux and I were saying, right, you're kind of killing him because he's come on, played well. Now, you know, release him, going. But you can see he's not in that frame of mind at the moment. So he needs to. They need to. He's the one you should be babysitting, nurturing a bit, giving him 10 minutes, maybe when the game's won. Do you know what I mean? You put him on 2-0 up.
But this was his first start of the season. It's not like he's picked him every game and he hasn't produced in every game and he persists with picking him even though the performance. This is his first start of the season. He more than anyone has been the victim of the switch to the 3-5-2 because there was no room for him. And he's come. I haven't got it off the top of my head, but I would say that he'd come off the bench in every league game before this one, and this was his first start. I mean, I see what you're saying about even at the moment. Yeah, there's probably no contest between the two, but it's not like he's picked Noon every single week and he hasn't produced his first start. And,
you've kind of like answered your own question, really, Phil, because you said you gave Kadeem Harris man of the match from a 35-minute display. That says it all to me. Do you understand what I mean? Not Saturday.
I know.
But I mean, I'm just for him to not. I don't understand, right, why you ain't saying, right, I'm going to put a lot of eggs in his basket then. Okay, young lad, I am going to rely on you. I am going to give you the responsibility. The responsibility is to go out, get goals and provide goals and terrorise defences. Go on then. Because the season in the Championship's a long season. So maybe after 10 or 15 games, you kind of like manage him for 5, 6, 7 games to then see him over the Christmas period, and then back end of the season, from February onwards, you release him again, game after game. But to manage him while you're struggling, I don't get that.
Okay, Alex just responding to that, I'm just saying, I fondly remember Noon's debut on the left, he says in capital letters, versus Wolves. He was outstanding. He's so easily found out on the right. Play him on his natural side. He says, interesting. I mean, Noon, it's funny, a couple of years ago, he was the fans' favourite, wasn't he? Nuninho, indeed. But just last season was he just never really got a run of games, never got any form going in.
No, it never happened last season, and it happens, John. It happens with people. You know, I would say the best players who tend to play week in, week out, it's just down to a consistency level. You know what I mean? And little things can stop you from gaining that consistency. You know, if your confidence is maybe because you've got a sore knee or a bad ankle, or you missed half of pre-season, or, you know, you've played the first 3 games and found you're not quite got that spark to get past people, and, you know, lots of different things. But he clearly isn't anywhere near what we know he's capable of. Do you know what I mean? So my thing is, when a player like that is performing like that, I want to walk around the training ground with him and asking him, I'd be trying to get into his head, what is the problem exactly? Because we all know it's there, and I'm not, let's not single out Nooney, because it seems to be throughout the team. But because we know what he's capable of, we'll focus on him for the time being. But I would be trying to find out, is it, you know, background? Is it just a general day-to-day training? What is it? What, you know, because your job as the manager and all the support staff, because there's loads of them, is to get to the bottom of that. All this analysis they got and these scientists and what have you, listen, put all that away. You just need to talk to the boy and find out exactly what's going on and correct it and look after him and make him feel, always say, make him feel loved, and they'll give you the world.
Indeed. Let's talk about the centre of the park limit, which seems to be an issue which a couple of people are flagging up here. Gunnarsson's form has been very good recently. I think everyone tends to agree Whittingham should be in that midfield also. Joe Ralls, who certainly last season was very much one of Cardiff's best players. Interesting to see what you've got in front of you there in the Echo. Did the fans' ratings so far from all the games this season, and Joe Ralls right down the bottom in terms of certainly the players who played consistently. He seems to be on the team sheet every week. Is he deserving of a place? Aaron here saying, is Joe Ralls turning into a crab merchant, he says. He only passes sideways. Surely Hughes or somebody like that is more deserving of a start. Joe Ralls, Phil, talk to me about Joe Ralls.
Not at the form we saw from him last season. He's another one of those players, like a lot of the Cardiff squad, who were delivering in small patches in games and not over a 90-minute period. Fulham game was a microcosm of that. Joe Ralls I thought was really poor in the first half. Second half was absolutely fantastic, not just because he scored a great goal, also he was so aggressive, he was getting so high up the pitch. And I just think it's one of those for centre midfielders, we've talked about this before, where you could sit for 3 hours debating the merits of each Cardiff City centre midfielder, and at the end you would probably just have to decide that they're all of a similar level, they all bring similar qualities, and so it's very difficult to say this one should be playing, this one shouldn't be playing. And before the season, Paul Trollope talked a little bit about he wanted to see a really sort of fluid midfield three. Now we haven't seen that, is the reality of it, and partially that's because you look at these players aren't used to playing in a midfield three with little passing triangles, pass and move. They're not used to it. Aaron Gunnarsson's a box-to-box player. Joe Ralls is probably a box-to-box player. And so...
Why are they trying to do it then if the players aren't capable of doing it? Is that what we're saying?
Well, yeah, it is a
great question, JD.
It's a difficult question, to one which I don't have the answer. My personal opinion would be that if Stuart O'Keefe's fit, he would absolutely be in my midfield three, because he's a better passer than most people make out, and he's also got a big engine. So yeah, Joe Ralls is a difficult one. I don't think he is in his best form, and it's probably a surprise that he's kept his place when people like Whittingham have dropped out. That's what confidence does. Players stop being aggressive, they stop getting as high up the pitch as maybe they should, and they take safer options with passes. That's just what confidence does.
What is the latest on Stuart O'Keefe? A couple of people asking where he is. Obviously he was being injured. Is he
yeah, we broke his arm at Bristol Rovers and came back to full training after the international break, so he should be fit. I mean, the guy is like roadrunner. I rarely seen a player like him. In pre-season he hadn't kicked a ball yet, and he played 2 60-minute matches back to back. Came off the pitch and he barely broke in a sweat, so he should be fit, I would have thought. Whether, I don't know what condition his arm's in, how his broken arm will affect him, whether they're just trying to be a bit cautious with that, but he should be in contention very soon. I would pick him, but that's everyone's got their opinion on our centre midfielders, don't they? That's the nub of it. But
they do indeed. Everyone's got the opinion on the goalkeeping situation as well at the minute. Obviously we saw Amos come in. Who is Cardiff City's best goalkeeper?
I thought
kind of very rare at a club that probably nobody can answer the question of who is the number one goalkeeper.
Yeah, and it's probably rare. I've never known it, with the two boys going out and then the two lads who are there now, like you say, not knowing whilst the season is ongoing. So it's the goalkeeper.
It will be him.
You're gonna have to. One of them is gonna have to settle down into the position.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it, and this will probably make me look very daft, but I would be stunned if Ben Amos didn't play the next 3 games.
No matter what.
I thought he looked a lot more experienced, a lot more comfortable on Saturday. So I'm going to go with Ben Wilson, because it was a very, very difficult situation for him, going from third choice to suddenly being first choice in a matter of a fortnight. It's difficult for a young player.
Yeah, it is. But on that small point there, Phil, as a player, you sit when you're on the bench praying for your opportunity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And your hard work and endeavour is what gets you that opportunity. Now, if you happen to find yourself given the opportunity for a reason other than that, you just got to grab it with both hands.
Yeah.
And it's the same if you're a striker, if you're imagine Marcus Rashford had come on for United in 4 games and had a stink in every one. You'd never hear of him.
Yeah.
The point is, it's no good saying once you get the opportunity, oh, but I'm a young lad and I haven't played for 2 weeks, or I haven't played for 2 years, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's difficult, but that is the reality of football. You are dropped in the deep end, and you've got to handle it.
But I think Amos seemed to handle that situation
He did.
a bit better.
Absolutely,
and so I would expect him now to have
Unless he
the
has an
jersey.
absolute torrid
it's one
against
game.
Rotherham, which I can't see. And I thought he was decent.
He did.
Saturday, I thought he started a bit shaky with a couple of kicks, but after that, I thought he had a good game. I really did. I think it's easy for people to say, oh well, back four isn't functioning right because they've got the new young keeper in. Yeah, okay, but those back players, Connolly, Morrison, Manga, Peltier, that's so much experience. They should be like a protection for him. Do you know what I mean? Or for whichever one of the two is in goal, they should be, steadfast in front, saying, right, we're gonna, attack every corner. Anything comes in the box, stay on your line unless it's blatantly obvious in the 6-yard box. Until he gets his confidence up and feels part and parcel of it.
Okay. Off the pitch, some really interesting comments from Gary Monk about the fans in the stadium after the match. I don't know if you caught that.
I didn't catch that, no.
Didn't catch them, but I mean...
Was it a dig?
Yes, I suppose
Are we
it was.
surprised?
Well, you could dress it up however you want, I suppose. He basically said that the Leeds fans had gone there and they had owned the stadium for that match, and that had really helped his team to get the win.
They didn't own the stadium. The atmosphere was poor. Cardiff fans were waiting to be entertained. Leeds fans were sat on the edge thinking, Cardiff are not the best and we still can't beat them. If we lose this one, because of the history between the two, okay, they've won the last 2, I think. And before that, they hadn't won since 82 or 84, something like that. Went back years.
Yeah.
So they obviously know coming to Cardiff is a hoodoo. It's one of those places like it always goes wrong sort of thing. So the Leeds fans, if Gary Monk thought Leeds fans owned it, they sang when they scored, as you would. But that was really and truly the only time you heard them. It wasn't a bouncing atmosphere, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was a really,
So
it was a really nervous atmosphere. It was 2 sets of fans who kind of dreaded what comes next.
Absolutely, because Leeds' home form is terrible at the moment. They're happier playing away from home than playing at Ellen Road. I spoke to a couple of lads up in the press box, and looking at the results, I said that, and the boys were like, yeah, definitely. This is easier for us to come here and play than playing at Ellen Road at the moment. So, Gary Monk can say that, but he's probably
Being Gary Monk.
having a little stab in him because he's.
They did bring decent numbers.
They
for
always do.
For a 12 o'clock lunch.
They always do. They're a massive
they
club.
weren't. I remember when I used to watch Sunderland, and they used to bring huge, really vocal for 90 minutes kind of away fans. It wasn't quite like that, to be fair.
No.
But,
So
what do you make of the atmosphere? I mean, we've talked about the Cardiff atmosphere to death, really, for the last couple of years. We won't dwell on it, but as somebody who moved down to Cardiff in January, I think it was now, and you've been going to the games since. What do you make of the atmosphere at Cardiff? Is it different to what you've seen before at other clubs, or is it just symptomatic of a club that is struggling in this way?
I think you can't create a cauldron atmosphere with half a stadium. That's the end of story.
It's a detriment.
You can't talk about
stadium.
anything other. If you've got huge pockets of your stadium where there's no one sitting there, it's impossible to get a good atmosphere. I mean, I thought the fans were pretty patient last Saturday.
Oh.
I mean.
Yeah, but that's about as patient as I've seen them, because they were almost how can I put it? They didn't turn angry. They almost did a bit of shock, like they can't really grasp, because it's still got the basis of a very good squad. It lacks pace, we know that. But you look at the players, you think to yourself, well, on paper, you've got some very, very good players, not one or two. Got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 very good players. Do you know what I mean? Which could play in several other teams in the league. So they're kind of just, it's almost bemusement. It's like, we can't quite understand. We know things ain't great off the pitch. Yeah, we know that. We know decisions are made off the pitch are sometimes out of this world. And, that's on a Saturday when you turn up, you're ready to support your team. At the moment, the fans are saying, right, give us something to sing about. Yeah, give us something to sing, give us something to celebrate, and enjoy the Saturday match day experience. At the moment, it's not enjoyable. So the players have, it's become a situation where the players are going to have to create the atmosphere by what they do on the pitch. And when the fans get up, the atmosphere goes up, and the two then bounce off one another. Do you know what I mean? But at the moment, the fans ain't going to get the players going because they don't seem like they're in the mood. They're like simmering, waiting to go for someone, because I guarantee if you start bottom of the league in 3 games' time, that would be like cauldron.
They're sat there waiting for Kadeem Harris to come on, aren't they?
It's but I mean, like it's not just Kadeem thing. You've got problems, John. Do you know what I mean? You've got problems. You've got problems with the system. Changing it admits that. You've got problems with selection. Who's your best team? Still don't know that. Consistency, confidence. It's problems, mate. It's problems, and they're not fixed overnight.
So what about this from Aaron? Says, I think some people need to understand that Trollope's role is head coach and not manager. He is not allowed to put his whole stamp down.
That's nonsense.
He has control of football and affairs.
It's not. That's nonsense. Yeah. If you're head coach, there's no one above you to make the decisions. Who picks the team, right? So, head coach, manager, whatever. It's just a title. Your job as head coach would be the same as manager, to get inside those players' heads and make sure they're following what you want to be done to the letter. And then you give them the freedom to go and express themselves at the right time in the right areas.
He doesn't have complete control over transfers, we all know that, but in terms of the day-to-day football affairs, in terms of the training ground, in terms of selection, he's manager under another title. As far as I understand it,
Yeah. I mean, big week coming up for the guy.
It's absolutely huge.
3 games.
I've got everything crossed for him. I swear, I'd love to see him go win.
Yeah.
And then see what happens to the confidence of the team and see it grow. Because let's be fair, it's not enjoyable. You know what I mean? You come from there. It's painful experience at the moment.
Is it fair, that question? Stevie here says, Blakey, Phil, do you agree with Jason Perry that Cardiff fans shouldn't be asking for Trollope to be sacked, or are those wanting a new manager justified? Is that all unfair, Phil, or is it fair because they are where they are, bottom of the league?
No, and actually I think Paul Trollope would concede this. Nobody has a right to tell fans what they should think when the team's bottom of the table after 8 games. And we were joking earlier today about, I watched my team Sunderland on Sunday, and I was hovering with a Davy Moyes tweet thinking, because that's what you do, that's what your club makes you feel. And it should, if you don't feel strongly when your team's bottom of the table after 8 games, you've got to ask a question. But the job of the people at the club and why they get their wages is to stand aside from that and to try and make a dispassionate gauge on what the trajectory is and how things are going. And obviously that's what I try to do as well. And I see a guy who fronts up brilliantly, even when his players don't perform for him. Paul Trollope, he comes out, he's honest, he doesn't shirk away from it. And he's never asked the fans to be patient. He's never asked the fans to don't criticise me, he understands the game. And I really like Blake. I really want him to turn it around because he's a well-respected guy. He's a good guy and he's very honest. But you know, he understands the game better than anybody. He's worked for managers who've been sacked. He had his own experience with that at Bristol Rovers, but it's such a big 3 games from him. I always say the second international break, that's the point where people get the itch. Because if you're hovering down at the wrong end of the table and you've got a long 2 weeks ahead of you, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's at that point when people at the board level start looking at it and going, there's a bit of a pattern coming here. But also they can fall into the trap of thinking, well, there's still 100 points to play for, we can still make a change down the fly. So
all of a sudden you're into January.
He'll know how big these next 3 games are, and he won't
if
be
you could
under any
handpick
illusions.
3 games, so let's try and be positive. You might potentially pick 3 or maybe a couple of these. Rotherham conceded
24 goals in 9 games this season.
more than anybody else.
Derby scored 2.
Scored
in
less
10.
than anybody else.
They're struggling.
After that. Yeah, big surprise that, isn't it? I mean,
Burton's probably the most difficult game.
yeah. But good games to have given Cardiff's problems.
They are. I mean, you know, Cardiff haven't
long
got a
as they
right. Yeah, Cardiff haven't got a right to go into any game at the moment and say, "Oh, come on, this is ours."
3
Of course
points
they
in the
haven't.
bag. Yeah.
But yeah, it's especially this Rotherham game because you know, Rotherham got beat 4-2 by Blackburn this week, and Blackburn haven't got close to anyone this season.
Yeah.
And I don't think Paul Trout will do any illusions. They've got
to win it
something.
because you're away from home. So like Leeds coming to ours, pressure's off you. You got to go there and you got to boss that game because they're there to be bossed. Their confidence is going to be okay. We're sat bottom, but I think our performances are slightly better than theirs, if you like. Yeah. So you've just been run over by Blackburn Rovers, as Phil said. That's a confidence crusher. Don't care what anyone says. If you're Cardiff now, you don't go up there Saturday tentative, you know, we're going to try and soak up the pressure. We're going to, I hope all week Charles is on. We're going to press high. We're going to close. And like I always say to you, John, the pressing is something that is, when I've watched coaches do pressing sessions, the amount of triggers and different people all involved is practically 9. You're left with like a back 3. If they get through the 2 banks, you're left with the back 3 or back 4 you're running at. So the pressing massively needs to improve. I don't think we can't sit back and counter-attack. We haven't got pace, but you've got people like Immers who can run all day. Riles can run all day. Okay, Gunnarsson can run all day. O'Keefe can run all day. So what would I be thinking to myself? Well, okay, Lambert is going to be your weakest link on the pressing. So ease your trigger and everyone goes around him. But you have to press. You can't counter-attack. You've just simply not got the pace to counter-attack. So you're better winning it higher. And that's all I would be doing this week is my final third, balls in the box, back 4 structure and press.
That was one of the huge issues with the 3-5-2, 5-3-2, whichever you saw it as actually. Because if you don't press, then it's a flat back 5, simple as, and especially at home, you can't create anything. So the pressing is such an important thing, and yeah, it's huge. I mean, after the Rotherham game on Saturday, Alan Stubbs came out, former Premier League centre-halves, and he says, "Oh, my defenders are just making mistakes that we can't legislate for. There's nothing we can do about that." So their confidence is not going to be through the roof.
No.
So those first 20 minutes, half an hour, as they did against Leeds, to be fair, the end product needs to be better, but they need to get out and they need to get in their faces, I think. It's a big game. It's a big game.
What are we playing then? Are we going 4-3-3 again? Are we Kadeem Harris to start?
Well, I doubt whether Pilkington will be fit.
No.
Paul Trout was pretty pessimistic after the
He looked struggling.
game.
He was on for about 10 minutes as well, struggling with that.
He wasn't confident about that at all. So then in many ways that would make his life a lot easier. You could bring Kadeem in for him and play him as one of the wingers. That might almost make that an easy choice for him. The 3-5-2s looked okay away from home, apart from Preston, which was an aberration. I'm going to call it.
The 3-5-2.
I'm going to call it. They went to Birmingham. They should have won. Birmingham are doing well on the table. They're a good team. They went to Norwich and competed with a really good Norwich side. I'm not saying you should bring it back, but I'm just saying a bit of perspective. Listen, whatever system you pick, the same deficiencies in your squad are going to be shown up. No.
Do you think your Lex Inners of this world, do you want to see them back? Bruno Manga?
Bruno has got to play. in my humble opinion.
I would totally agree with that.
He is a cut above.
I can't believe that.
He hasn't been a cut above. That's the problem, isn't it? He's been pretty awful, isn't he, this season when he's played?
Well, I wouldn't say no. I would say there's this notion that at the moment that his mistake is leading to a goal. It happened to Sean Morrison when he first came here. Like, every time you make a mistake, you just felt so sorry for him. It seemed to lead to a major incident. Yeah. But I've seen one or two maybe, and I'm not talking this season. I'd say one or two, maybe 3 or 4 over the last 6-7 months, where you may point the finger at Manga. But I wouldn't say he's someone who, he can switch off. But then so many players can, you know what I mean? That's a mistake in itself. But I think his athleticism, and at this stage of the season, you can't point the finger at anyone and saying you're playing well, so you deserve to keep the shirt.
So does he play instead of Connolly then? Because Connolly at the start of the season was
I would play
Morrison
Connolly and Manga. That would be mine. I've always said it. Nothing against Morrison. I think he's fantastic from set pieces for. I think Manga's fantastic set pieces against. So, weigh it up.
Cardiff are not dealing with crosses into the box. If you play Bruno Manga and the ball comes into the box and it goes anywhere near him, he gets rid of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can overthink things with defenders and what have you. To me, he's just...
Put things that aren't really there.
He's quick, he's good in the air. I just think he's a cut above, and it absolutely bemuses me that a team bottom of the table cannot pick a player of his quality.
Yeah,
in a way, it is kind of bad management, because listen, this is a guy who's, we all know about his contract situation. It's up in the summer. We all know the likelihood is that Bruno Manga won't be a Cardiff City player next season. I think that's probably fair, unless something dramatic happened.
But I bet
there is a player with value.
You go to a bigger club.
Now his value is dropped because they haven't managed him well.
Correct.
And now you're in a position where you're probably not going to get
any
money for him, which is just ludicrous, because he's a brilliant player who could go and play for a team in the bottom half of the Premiership. You could sell him for 6-7 million.
Yeah.
If you are going to sell him, it's just you're in this ridiculous halfway house where you've got a brilliant player who has no value, and yet he's not bringing anything to your team. You're bottom of the league. It's incredible.
I actually would have flipped it. I would have made him captain in the summer. I wouldn't have made Morrison captain. I would have given him the responsibility of being captain. As soon as Marshall went, I would have said.
Concerns over language.
Language would be the concern, I think. There,
but again, he's been here 2 years. Do you know what I mean? It's actually, I'm sure basic. If he can't get basic, man closing you down and it's your ball or Bruno's, or they're basic statements. I'm not saying you have to read literature. Do you know what I mean? I'm just wanting to manage the team. Now in training, then you find that out. If you think he needs to be led rather than he's a leader, okay, fair enough. But from performances I've seen, I would say, give him that extra responsibility. Because that's what always happens. Certain players go up another level once you give them that extra responsibility. And I believe he's one of them. But as Phil says, to find yourself with that quality of player, contract running down this season, not playing, I guarantee he'll go to a top championship club, if not Premier League club. I guarantee you. And again, Cardiff would have got nothing for another player, and that's what they've done. That's why that's why they're in such financial meltdown, really, because they just cannot understand how the game is supposed to be managed, how you manage players, how you manage contracts. Everyone knows you don't let a contract run down to less than 2 years, 18 months, if you know he's a quality player. It doesn't matter that he's not playing every week for me. Yeah? What matters is I don't lose him for nothing at the end of his contract. Yeah? So rather than sign 8 under-21s on 2-year contracts or whatever, you sign 3 of the best and you make sure people like him are sorted. It's crazy, because what'll happen is he'll go to another club, do well, and then probably get a move to another bigger club, and we'll all be going, oh yeah, look, yeah, here's another one, look, gone. There's another one. Because over the last 2 or 3 years, who can you say, right, we've done, that was very good business.
And you look at
That was great business.
If you
what we've given away constantly, and I go from 15, 16-year-old boys like Regan Poole all the way up to Makedas and Lafondras, what we're just giving away. Marshall, last season, 6 million. This season, you sell him for less than half. It's like, okay, all right, continue. Yeah, it's like it doesn't equate in my brain. I'm like,
if you're going to be a team that progresses without heavy investment from above, your recruitment needs to be absolutely spot on, and you need to bring through youngsters who you can.
But you know what, Phil? I sorry to cut across you there, but they go hand in hand. This is what people tend to. They get lazy if you've got money. Mate, I don't actually want to spend your money. I want the basis of my Cardiff City team to be the nucleus of it through my academy. It's been there 6, 7, 10 years probably. I want the nucleus of my team to come from my academy, because I know I've got a big fat bank balance, and then I can put the finishing touches around it. So what we've done is gone, let's just weigh all that money in, yeah? Don't worry about the academy. Something will come out of there. Why? Because we're putting money in there. It doesn't work like that.
And things have gone wrong and they've gone, oh, let's take all the money.
Right, let's take all the money away from the academy. Oh, and let's drain resources at the first team level. So, but then still sell a dream to your paying fans that we're going for promotion, we're going forward.
Top 6 minimum requirement.
It's like, it's what you think people are. They're not mugs, you can't mug them off. You can't. Anyway, that's just me just blowing off a little steam.
Go ahead, dude, blow away. They're focusing on that Rotherham game. Then we said that they cannot defend by the looks of things. If you're going to score goals, you're going to score goals against Rotherham. Ricky Lambert, not been here long, I know, a couple of games, but we were talking earlier, Phil, so fans seemed a bit divided on his performance against Leeds.
I gave him my Cardiff man of the match and got a bit of stick for it, which I was a little bit surprised by. I mean, he's not, I'm sure by his own admittance, isn't it his peak physical condition, but he's not going to be. You're asking, really, you shouldn't be asking a guy to come in who's not really been in the first team picture at another club during pre-season, who hasn't played many starts in the previous 2 seasons.
You're not going to get that anyway.
34. But you can't then actually. Cardiff have left themselves in a position where they had to bring him in. They had no choice but give him 90 minutes, 3 games in a week, because they haven't got any alternatives. And to be honest, to come out as he did on Saturday, having played 2 games previous in a week, having not played much in the previous 2 years, and to put in the shift he did, I thought was brilliant. I mean, some of his hold-up play, he's getting the ball with his back to goal, inside his own half, with no Cardiff player within 30 yards of him. And on a few occasions, he managed to find somebody. I just thought, wow, that's full credit to him. But
for me, I would play my back 4, and then I would play like O'Keefe and Gunnison, and then I would have a choice ahead of him of like Whitnam or Immers or Pilkington, who's injured. So I would say Whitnam or Immers. And I would say to Immers, because he can run all day, you pick and choose, and he's very clever, when you're going to sit this side, and when you're going to run beyond him. Ricky needs, his hold-up play is so good, what he needs is people going beyond him. And you don't need to be quick, you just need to time your run. Yeah? And then I would have young Harris, and I would try Declan out wide. And I would say, you two, I don't want you coming inside. Come inside if it's blatantly obvious, but I want you to get to that byline, and I want you to get crosses in. Or get beyond your fullback and slide balls across the box. Right? That's all I was saying. Immers loves a goal. Lambert loves a goal. If it's Declan, in you go Kadeem, and maybe O'Keefe, because you've got the engine to come back and forth, and Gunnison sit, or vice versa. So you're getting 4 or 5 men in the box all the time. But that's the way I would go. I would work on my pressing, and I would go with the young legs out wide, because they're the 2 quickest players in the squad. I would get with someone who can run beyond, like Aaron Ramsey. Aaron Ramsey hasn't got pace, but what has he got? A continuous engine. A Rolls Royce just goes boom, boom, boom. Immers is very similar, not in, quality and what have you like that, but you understand my drift, is Immers can get in behind and he is liable to get you a goal. He knows where the net is as well. So I would go with that sort of system, because it's you know, if you're playing Peltier doesn't like to get forward, but he loves to tackle. So I know I'm always going to have, if I got a marauding left-sided fullback, yeah, I know I'm always going to say, okay, well we'll go down that side more often than we'll go down the right, because you know we're going to leave Kadeem isolated more often than not, and Peltier will get forward time from time to time. But you know he's a full-back, so you know you're always going to have your two centre-halves, your sitter, and your right-back, really. So you can work on that, becoming a quite fluid back 3 or 4, however you want to look at it. So there's ways forward for Cardiff. There are definitely ways forward, but you've got to find the formula quick.
Anyone got any thoughts on Idris Sardi? Just quite a few people mentioning him. I
forgot about him. Yeah.
Obviously out on loan at the Vincent Tan's Belgian club. I think it's 5 goals in 7 games.
Always happens.
Seems to be
I
popular.
guarantee you, bring him back here, he wouldn't score.
Listen,
Belgium.
Freddie Gunungbe scored a lot of goals in that league last year.
I seen what's his call scoring the other day. The Danish boy who we had for 10 million quid. I seen him scoring the other day.
He scored in the Champions League.
Yeah. Cornelius.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Bring him back, Blakey. Bring him back.
I'm not sure for 10 million, right?
No, probably not. Probably not. A couple of comments. Tom here, have a look at this one. Tom says, if you honestly think Bruno Manga is a good defender, then sorry, Nathan, you have not been watching him closely. He's cost us a number of points over the last 2 seasons. And on another note, Joe Ralls has been very poor, and Noon can't cross a ball, he says. End of.
Okay, it's entitled to his opinion, isn't he? Fair play to him. That's the whole idea of the beauty of the game. But indeed. You know, I would say, if you said the one who was stuck out to me, like we just said, who would make a mistake and lead more times than not to a goal, was Morrison. I think he was unlucky like that for a long while. But I wouldn't say Manga was someone who was costing you goals, and I think the general consensus is, on form, he's the best centre-half, not by a little, by a long way. So I don't know, maybe you've seen games where he has made major rickets. You know?
Okay. If when you get to the game on the weekend, when the team sheets come out,
I'm going to Rotherham,
and the formations come out. Well, both of them. What's the one thing you really hope to see, be it a player in that starting 11, a formation? What do you really hope?
A fit Stuart O'Keefe in the starting 11. It would be my. I got a lot of respect for Stuart O'Keefe. I think he'll do the dirty work, but I think he'll bring a bit of quality as well. I think he would make a big difference. I think they've missed him quite sorely in the last few weeks. So if he's fit, I hope he is fit. I hope he starts, because I think he'll stand up.
I'd like to see a fit Stuart O'Keefe. I'd like to see a 4-3-3. I'd like to see the 2 young lads wide. And I'd like to see someone, if not Immers, Ralls, whoever, Whittingham, playing behind the big man up front. I mean, you play Whittingham, he's not going to get beyond. Yeah? So you could play Whittingham and O'Keefe rather than Gunnarsson. So there's ways of, you know, squaring that circle, if you like, of those 3 in the middle. But yeah, I would like to see the 2 pacey lads wide, and I would love to see them really press the game and not just become a basketball match end to end. I'd like to see them press the game and control the game a lot more than what they have been doing.
Okay.
So I've got a bit of a bucket list on
it. Yeah, that was slightly more.
They're more than capable. And they've shown in patches that they can do it under this coach as well. So let's hope
it's a bit of a cliche. Do you sense deep down that they are, you know, if they were to go to Rotherham and win, you know, 3-0 or something like that, that would almost be it, that would spark it? Do you think it's
we don't know. I don't think we can second guess with Cardiff's form. I think it's a case where you would want to see that 2, 3, 4 games in a row, and you know they're in form, they're playing so much better, they're confident. I don't think it's going to happen after one game, because you can win a game like Rotherham and then go and get trounced against Derby, and you're back to square one. I
think if they can definitely pull very comfortably away from the relegation zone. Whether they will or not, we won't
that
see.
squad shouldn't be
But
there. Oh,
Are they going to race up the table into the chasing pack?
No, that's not
I'd
gonna
have my
happen.
doubts, but there is more than enough there, and we've seen in patches more than enough to suggest that they could pull away comfortably from the bottom of the league. But that's
two keepers
that's not-
aside,
yeah.
you look at the defenders, 3 centre halves, 4 centre halves, full backs, the midfield players, Gunnarsson lauded in Euros, you know what I mean? O'Keefe, Premier League, Wits, they say best passer in the league. It doesn't mean you've got so much talent. Okay, you're lacking pace, but you have got the 2 young lads, like I said. You know, that on paper that squad shouldn't be there, but paper don't run over the white line and play. People do. People come with deficiencies and all
There's been
sorts.
different sides of that argument in the last week, actually, about how good Cardiff City's team is. The argument being, you know, with the players they've got.
Don't
they
get me
should at
wrong,
least
I'm
be
not
the
saying
top-
they're great.
the top half.
I'm not saying
Do you think some
they're
people,
top
do you think
4
a lot
material.
of people overrate Cardiff's players?
I think they do, and then they underestimate the opposition. That's what I think what happens a lot. You get, and that's, as fans, we all do it. You're in the bubble and you think, well, we shouldn't be there. But if you look at like above you and there's 4 or 5 other teams of similar ability, and then above them there's 5 or 6 teams who are a lot better than those 5 teams below, you start to think, well. But with confidence, and I think it I mean, that's why I love the Premier League, because it shows you how important, I think, not it shows you, but you can see with things like Pep Guardiola how important a manager is. Yeah, what he does with the same set of players and takes them to a totally different level. So it can happen. And I always say, you know, people almost tend to underestimate the manager when things are going well. Yeah, the team. But I think what Guardiola's done, because he's done it at Barcelona, Bundesliga, and now it seems the same thing is developing in the Premier League. Listen, you follow this tactically and do as he's saying, and then he also allows you the freedom to play in final thirds. You know, you can turn average performances into unbelievable performances. Okay, that'd be difficult right now for Cardiff, but they can turn low-level confidence into definitely medium. I was going to say they can turn low-level into, you know, high confidence.
Medium confidence.
Yeah.
Okay, let's finish with the, the dreaded predictions. I assume you were both completely wrong last week.
Yeah.
What did we say?
I had a Cardiff win.
I sat on the fence, didn't I?
You had a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. Cardiff win. 3-1.
Do you know, it's typical of Cardiff to go up there and, I mean, I'm speaking like we're not bottom of the league. We're bottom of the league, let's not forget. So it wouldn't surprise me if we went up there and lost 3-0. Honestly. No, I'm sick of giving like predictions with my Cardiff cap on in hope.
This is good. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
This is progress.
I actually, I'm going to get off the fence this week, John. I am, because the Preston result, I knew they'd get beat. I said to myself, I know they're going to go up there and I'm going to get not just beat. I bet they get well beaten. All right, I bet they do, and they did. So then the Leeds was more like, come on, you know, after you slap in now, you know, go up and slap Leeds, because there's a big rivalry, and the Gary Monk thing added, former Swansea, and he just never turned up really. And I just seen the team and I'm thinking, you need some confidence boost. So I think we'll struggle. I really do. The fact that Alan Stubbs is quite a inexperienced manager in this league, that might save us. I'm looking. I'm trying to find the way I can a gap in a weakness where I think Cardiff can exploit. So let's just say 1-1 draw. I think go on. I'll go It's not going to be a
It
one
doesn't
goal
matter,
score
Blakey.
line.
Whatever happens, it doesn't.
2-0
2-0 Rotherham.
Cardiff.
2-0 Cardiff.
Yeah.
We've gone from 3-0 Rotherham to 2-0 Cardiff.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to go against your team. It is. Yeah, I'm gonna. Go on. 2-0 Cardiff. Man.
It was contradictory 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. We're the donkeys, and the donkeys got to win sooner or later, haven't we?
Well, yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Donkeys have got to win. Okay, we'll leave it there on that note, I think, chaps. Thanks for joining us, as always. Thanks for all your comments. Hopefully it will be a 2-0 Cardiff win on the weekend. You never know. You can follow it all live with us here on Wales Online, and we will see you same time, same place next week.